You have 365 chances to win. 365 days. 365 days of doing. 365 days of trying and trying. 365 days of wins and failures. 365 days of learning from your mistakes. In those 365 days, you can completely change who you are. You can succeed, you can lose. You can lose for 10 straight days, lose all your drive and all your motivation, and then try again and have a little win that brings you back into the game. You become insane in the process, literally insane. Not for anything other than results, not for love, but to get better. I can't stand one day without trying. I can't stand one day without doing, without progressing. I cannot live. You don't go insane by being normal. You go insane by trying and trying and trying thousands of things and none of them work. Where you want to get better, and you're actually trying towards it, but nothing happens. You're still the same. That's when you go insane. That's when you get so fucking pissed of being the same that you're willing to do everything. You get humbled, and there's nothing left but to accept that you're not good, and you must get better. Accepting your situation, doing what you're scared the most, change. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, becomes insanity. That's where people quit or continue. You have been defeated. You have tried things believing they would work, but they didn't. Nothing worked. So here you are in the nothing. Are you going to try it from there? Are you going to try with the approach of a man that understands that he must go through real pain, grow, and still choosing to build? Because nothing is clean, because nothing is a clean foundation. No expectations, no identity to defend, no comfort to protect. Just raw material, just will. That's where discipline stops being a fucking habit and becomes a weapon. You stop asking how you feel, you stop negotiating with resistance. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You move because stillness is decay. Time doesn't slow down for completion. It doesn't care about doubt. It doesn't care that if you're tired. Every hour passes whether you fight or fold, so you learn something brutal. Hesitation is loss. Not dramatic loss, not visible loss. The quiet kind. The kind that steals years while you think you're thinking. You start seeing time differently. Minutes aren't moments anymore, they are currency. Days aren't experiences, they are investments. And suddenly comfort looks expensive. Distraction looks violent. Excuses look embarrassing. You begin to notice patterns. How easy it is to talk, how rare it is to act. You notice how most people project their ego more than their future. Notice how average is not an accident, it is a decision repeated daily. That realization burns, because it means change is not mysterious, it's not hidden, it's not reserved for the gifted. It is recharged with endurance, and endurance is ugly. It looks like repetition when you're bored. It looks like effort when you're unseen. It looks like discipline when no one will know if you stopped. That's the real test. What do you do when nothing is working? What do you do when results are silent? That silence is a pressure chamber. It squeezes out the illusion. You find out who you are when effort gives you nothing back. That's where most people retreat, because they need evidence to continue. But evidence is the reward, not the requirement. So you keep going without proof. You keep showing up without applause. You keep building without validation, and something really strange happens. You detach from the outcome. You stop chasing motivation. You stop chasing recognition. You stop chasing the feeling of progress. You become loyal to process. Not because it's exciting, because it's necessary. You begin to understand a darker truth. Growth is subtraction before addiction. Growth is subtraction before addition. You lose habits. You lose illusions. You lose versions of yourself that were comfortable but weak. You outgrow excuses that once felt reasonable. So you demand more. More from your focus, more from your standards, and more from your tolerance for discomfort. You begin to live differently from everyone around you. Not louder, not prouder, sharper. Your effort becomes your identity. You're no longer trying to change. You're no longer trying so hard to change. You're someone who changes. You're no longer hoping to grow. You are someone who grows. And that shift is irreversible. Because once you see what inaction costs, you cannot know it. You cannot return to comfortable stagnation without feeling like you're betraying yourself. So you keep going. Not because it's easy, it's because stopping and doing nothing will be heavier. Once you look back, you realize that the most important transformation wasn't success, it was tolerance. Tolerance for authenticity, tolerance for effort without reward, and tolerance for becoming before arriving. You didn't conquer the world, you conquered resistance. And that changes everything, because once you master that, there is no version of you that cannot deconstruct from nothing through pressure by choice. Again and again and again.